Today we're going to axe-proof a lever-action firearm. Axe-proof load and unload a lever-action firearm. How that happens. This is a lever-action rifle. As I walk up to it, the action is opened. So what I'm doing is I'm looking inside of the barrel of the firearm to ensure there are no cartridges, down into the action to ensure there are no cartridges, and also the tubular magazine, the end of that, to ensure that I do not see the end of a cartridge there. There are no cartridges in this firearm. So now I'm going to proof the barrel, ensure there's nothing in the barrel. So how you do that typically, how I do that is I turn myself perpendicular to the firing line. I grab the gun with my strong hand, hold it against my belly. So I can't easily point the firearm at another person. Now I have to take a tight-fitting rod, slide down the barrel to ensure there's nothing in the barrel, and there is not. If I did not have a tight-fitting rod, I could use, say if I was out hunting, I could use what's called a bore snake or a pull-through cleaning implement. They're fairly easy to come by and they work really well. You drop them in through the action and pull them out through the end of the barrel. Now the gun is axe-proofed. I'm going to load the firearm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look on the side. On the left-hand side in North American firearms, on the right-hand side on some European firearms. And this says the caliber of this firearm, which is what I'm looking for, is .30-30 Winchester. So I know the ammunition that goes in this firearm is .30-30 Winchester caliber. So I have here two cartridges. And they are .30-30 Winchester, .30-30 Winchester. So I have two correct cartridges. Now, what I follow are two protocols for loading firearms. If at all possible when loading a firearm, to put the safety on before I load it, I put the safety on. The safety on this particular firearm, it is a newer lever action, is a tang, a sliding safety or tang safety. Typically with tang or slide safeties, if you push them towards the target, typically the safety is off and the firearm will discharge. Typically, if you pull them back towards the butt of the gun or towards you, typically when you're holding the firearm, the safety will engage and the firearm will not fire. Another thing to look for is the color. Sometimes there are red dots when the safety is disengaged and the firearm will shoot. So a rule of thumb or how to remember it is red means dead. If you can see red, it means the firearm will discharge, it will shoot. So the safety is on. If at all possible, I put the safety on before I load the gun. That just makes sense. And if at all possible, the second thing I do is shut the action. So this firearm, I'm shutting the action. You shut that just by closing the lever. This is a lever action gun. This is the lever. Close the lever. So the lever is closed. Now, there's a loading gate on the side that depresses. And what you want to do, you want to take your .30-30 Winchester rounds and slide them into the loading gate and they will slide into the magazine. And you have to push them into the gun until they click with your finger. Next one. Now they're both in the magazine. I have 2 rounds in the magazine. I would like to put one in the chamber. How I do that is I grab the action and I force the action down forcibly, not terribly forcibly, but one solid swoop. Then I pull it back, one solid swoop. One complete cycle. Don't go easy on it or you might jam the firearm. So now I have a round in the chamber and a round in the magazine. Now I could go, if I was going hunting, I would go hunting. If I was at a range, I would shoot. The action on lever action rifles has to be solidly engaged before you can fire the gun. There's a safety on that right here. It's a lever safety. It's a grip safety. This gun will not fire unless the lever is fully compressed. And that ensures that the bolt is locked into place solidly before the gun is discharged. If it's not locked into place solidly, there is a danger that this will open up while it is shooting and that will cause irreparable harm to you. So manufacturers put a grip safety on the gun. The grip must be squeezed before it will be fired. Now, to unload this firearm, very simple. You just work the action. So You work the action, the gun unloads itself. You look, make sure there's nothing, no cartridges in the action, in the chamber, or in the magazine. Before you put the gun down, you want to axe-proof it. You want to run a rod down the barrel again, just to ensure there's nothing in the barrel stuck in there while you're out hunting or whatever. There's nothing in the barrel. If I was out hunting, I would put this now, I'd close it, put it in a locked case, and that would be it. If I was on the range, I would make sure it was opened, so everybody could see it was unloaded. Step back 1 meter behind the firing line on the range, and the range would now be cold. You should note when we're discussing lever action firearms, some do not have a safety. The modern ones do, but the older ones do not, or most of the modern ones do. In that case, what you have to do is you have to physically drop the hammer to put the firearm on safe. And you have to be cognizant of what you're doing there, very careful. So you have to put your thumb on the hammer and hold it back. You have to also at the same time squeeze the lever tight. So you're squeezing the lever tight, you're pulling the hammer back with your thumb. Now you pull the trigger and you allow the hammer to go forward under control. If the hammer slips, the gun will discharge. So you have to be very, very careful of that, okay? The newer old lever actions, the hammer will lay about that far away from the firing pin and it's safe. The really old lever actions, the hammer will be tight against the firing pin and you will have to pull it back till it clicks. So when you're loading and putting the safety on lever action firearms, you have to know the gun that you have. And if you are unaware of what gun you have and how exactly the hammer safety works, if you have no tang safety, please see a gunsmith.